Hello, everyone. I'm Justin Grego, and I'm a Senior End User Computing Specialist Solutions Architect here at AWS. This is the fifth and final in a series of videos where I will walk you through a complete step-by-step deployment of Citrix DaaS on Amazon WorkSpaces Core. This video will cover how to create a deployment. If interested, please see my previous 4 videos covering topics such as creating resource locations, providing Citrix Cloud access to your AWS account, connecting to your existing Active Directory, and creating an image with the Citrix VDA installed. In this video, I'll start with a quick recap of where we are in the Citrix DaaS on WorkSpaces Core deployment flow. We'll then review what options you have for deployments based on your operating system of choice. Last, I'll visually walk you through creating a deployment and assigning users. Now, to quickly recap, Citrix breaks down the deployment of Citrix DaaS on WorkSpaces Core into 5 basic steps. In the first video in the series, I covered the prerequisites and how to create a resource location. This included how to deploy 2 Citrix Cloud connectors in EC2. In the second video, I explained how permissions are established between your Citrix Cloud account and your AWS account. We covered how Citrix assumes a role within your account, where to download a template of the permissions, and reviewed the various sections within that policy. In the next video, I provided an explanation of AD connector and how it works. I then walked through deploying an AD connector and registering it with the Citrix and WorkSpaces services. In the fourth video, I covered creating a Server 2022 based image and importing it into the Citrix DaaS console. This video is the final step that pulls together all the various components we've built throughout the series to deploy a pool of WorkSpaces Core desktops and assign users to them. Quickly, we'll review what types of deployments you can do with Citrix DaaS integration with WorkSpaces Core bundles. For Desktop OS, we have the ability to deploy a single session desktop. And with those, we can assign users at deployment time, or we can deploy unassigned workspaces that will get statically assigned on first use. For Server OS deployments, we have a few more options available. Again, we can do single session desktops that are either assigned during deployment or on first use. We also have the option to do multi-session desktops, and along with that, multi-session application publishing. With multi-session, you do not assign users directly to workspaces, and instead they're placed on one using Citrix's load balancing algorithms for their session. I'll now hop on over to the AWS console to start this visual walkthrough. All right, here we are over in the Citrix DaaS console, and now it's time to put together all the various bits and pieces that we've been building over the last 4 videos. So once again, we're going to be going under Quick Deploy under WorkSpaces Core. In this time, we're going to be creating a deployment. You'll see here that I have some deployments of various types that I have created previously, but we're going to be creating a new one using the directory and images that we've created before. So you're going to click Create Deployment. This is going to query for all the different directories and that you have set up in the account. We're going to pick the video demo that we created previously. For the image, this is where you're going to be able to select all the images that you've imported into Citrix DaaS. You'll see both a variety of multi-session and single-session images. For this demo purpose, I'm going to pick our video demo image that we imported in the previous video. Then you get the choice of the size of the machines. So you're going to be picking from the various sizes that WorkSpaces provides, their t-shirt sizes. So they range from value up to Power Pro, and you're going to get between 1 and 8 vCPUs and up to 32 gigs of RAM. If you have created and imported an image that is configured to support GPUs, you can deploy both Graphics and Graphics Pro type instance types as well for those. For this case, I'm just going to pick this Power 4x16. You then have the choice around what size drives you want to assign. So the root volume applications get installed there. And then the user volume, where on a single user machine, the user profiles will go. But on multi-user, they're actually going to use the C drive. You can then click Next. And then you have the option to encrypt your volumes. So if you want to encrypt both the root and the user volumes, you can do so by keeping this enabled. You can then use an AWS managed key that's part of the service. Or if you do have your own KMS keys that you want to use, you can input them there as well. I'm just going to leave it at the default encryption for this demo. Next, you're going to determine how you're going to assign users. Since I picked a multi-session instance, I'm not going to be able to assign users directly. What it's going to do is use Citrix's load balancing to place users across the various machines in the pool for the duration of that user session. What you're going to select is how many machines do you want to put into that pool. And keep in mind with WorkSpaces Core, it's a flat rate fee for each instance per month, no matter how many users are on it or how many hours they use that instance. So what really you're trying to determine is, what's the maximum amount of machines that I need to support the maximum number of users that I'm going to have within that given month. For this example, I'll just pick 2. So we just deploy 2. And then you need to give it a name. This is the name that you're going to see for this deployment. So I'm going to call these ones video demo desktops. And then we'll create this deployment. Now, what this is doing under the covers is it's actually creating a machine catalog and a delivery group for you. No different than if you're doing Citrix MCS or any other deployment technology that Citrix has. The difference is you're not creating the machine catalog and then from there creating the delivery group and assigning users. So this is going to spin for a few minutes, and while it does, I'll pause the recording. Okay, so now this deployment is in a pending state. You can see all the various bits of information that we've configured here. So what directory it's using, what image it's using, what machine type, and whether or not it's encrypted. So what it's doing now under the covers is calling the WorkSpaces core service and deploying the actual workspaces. We can click view details here to get a little bit more information about this pool. Right now, there's no machines. We haven't assigned any users, but you can review what the configuration is. What I'm going to do now is kind of go through some of these previous ones that I've created. So here's another multi-session that we can look at. So in this instance, again, this was Server 2022 multi-session. I deployed 3 machines. They're all powered on and available. I can also publish applications. So if you didn't want to publish a full desktop and you just want to provide a couple applications to your users, you can go down here and click Add Applications. And then you can either manually pick them or you can drive into the Start menu. So what this will do is connect on the back end to a live machine and query what's available in the Start menu. And then from there, you can pick, what applications I want to publish to my users. And it'll go ahead and set this up for those applications. You can come in here and update the image. So let's say you had an updated image that you wanted to deploy to machines. You can swap out what is set in this deployment. Keep in mind, this will only affect new machines that are deployed. Existing machines you'll have to patch and manage, just like any other dedicated machine that you've deployed in the past. The other thing that I wanted to show quickly is for like Windows 11 single user. We do have some different options there. So you will see we don't have the option to publish applications, but we do have the ability to assign users. So you can see that we have this user here that's assigned to this desktop. This was assigned on first use, but once they've used it once, that machine is now theirs. So hopping back over here while this is deploying, we can take a look under machine catalog. You'll see again that each of those deployments has a machine catalog and a delivery group that's created for you based on the information that you provided to the quick deploy deployment wizard. You're typically not going to come in here. A lot of the times you'll see that you cannot you cannot modify anything that was done with that quick deployment. But there are a few instances where you will want to come in here. For example, on the delivery group, if you edit the settings, there's some additional settings that are exposed directly on the delivery group that the quick deployment wizard won't show you. Things like restart schedule, things like application pre-launch, load balancing, app lingering, all those more advanced settings that Citrix has for delivery groups, you're going to find here right on the delivery group. The other thing that you may want to keep note of is if you're assigning policies, that's not done through the quick deployment wizard. So again, this is done under the policies node. You can go in and edit a policy. And then when you assign it, you can assign it to the delivery groups that are created, by the Citrix DaaS integration with WorkSpaces core. So let's hop back over and check on the status of our deployment. It's going to be in the pending state for a while as those machines deploy. But once it's done, what you'll see is what we have up here under multi-session prod. So you'll have, 2 desktops, which we picked, deployed into this pool and available for users. All right, so after a few minutes, our deployment is now complete. You'll see that the status is active. And now if we go to view details, what we'll see here is that those 2 machines that we had requested be added to this deployment are now deployed and they're available. So the last thing that you need to do in order to allow your users to get in is to actually assign users, which you'll do here on the users tab. Right now, there's no users that are added. So we can click add. We're going to search our Active Directory for users and groups. So I'll add my demo user. I'll search for him, select him and say done, and then done. And then what you'll see here now is that user has been authorized access to the desktops in this pool. In addition to individual users, you can go in and also search for groups. So if I wanted to give all my domain users access, I could search for that group and give them access as well. But that's it. And so at this point, you've deployed Amazon WorkSpaces Core using Citrix DaaS. And you now have a pool of desktops for your users that they're able to connect in through Storefront and get their work done. And that concludes this visual walkthrough of creating your first Citrix on WorkSpaces Core deployment. This was the final step that combines all of the various components we've built throughout this video series. You'll see on the screen here some resources that provide additional information on Amazon WorkSpaces Core, the full administration guide for the solution, as well as to the AWS EUC community and YouTube playlists. Additionally, in this video's description, you'll find additional links to information on the BYOL image process and more reading on Amazon WorkSpaces Core in general. I want to thank you for your time today and over the course of this video series. Stay tuned for exciting new content around Amazon WorkSpaces Core in the coming weeks. Thank you.